Hey guys, Bix Weir, Roota.com. Huge news. Big news. Monster news for Veritaseum. Our struggling little Veritaseum. The giant killer, Veritaseum. This is from CoinDesk. Although, I think this guy, Daniel Kuhn, who wrote this, is really biased. I think he knows what Veritaseum could do to the crypto market exchanges, which is destroy them. Because he really has the SEC bias on this article, in my opinion. Anyway, here's the news that, you can't lie about what really happened. SEC in settlement talks with fraudulent ICO organizer Reg Middleton. Why would he say that? There's nothing fraudulent about Veritaseum. But let's read down. The SEC announced that it has entered into settlement discussions with Reggie Middleton, organizer of the $14.8 million Veritaseum ICO. In the filing with the New York District Court published on October 2nd, the regulators said discussions with the defendants have taken place ahead of a pre-trial conference. This announcement comes on the heel of two settlements with the SEC over unregistered digital securities offerings. On October 1st, data storage startup SIA negotiated $225 million settlement over its $120 million raise. I don't know what that is. I don't think that has anything to do with cryptos. But I don't know. I'll have to check into that. I don't know why they put that in there unless they're trying to say, hey, look how much they had to pay compared to what they raised. Anyway. And on September 30th, EOS maker Block 1 agreed to pay $24 million penalty on a raise that totaled $4.1 billion. That's 0.005% of what it raised. And it was the most fraudulent of any ICO that was out there. They promised an audit so that they would show that they weren't funneling Ethereum and Bitcoin back into their own ICO, which they never came up with. Of course they were doing that. According to the initial complaint, Middleton claimed VERI tokens were not securities and willingly, according to the complaint, this is bullshit. According to the initial complaint, okay. According to the initial complaint, Middleton claimed VERI tokens were not securities and willingly misled investors about the token's potential value. That's bullshit. He obfuscated his business plan and had several times referred to the tokens as software or compared them to prepaid gift cards to be used on a technological platform, which they were. And then Middleton was further accused of manipulating the security's value post-ICO and misappropriating it, at least $520,000 of investors' money for personal use. It's not investors' money. It's prepaid software. But hey, let it lie. We're not going to go down that path. And this guy doesn't even bring up the counter 400. How many pages was it? It was massive. The counter filing by Reggie and Veritaseum, but we're not going there. See, this is how negotiations can fall apart. Reggie and Veritaseum were so right, but you're dealing with people who just are working for a different agenda. Anyway, in 2017, Middleton claimed a hacker stole $8 million of the funds raised during the ICO. The funds are still missing. That's bullshit. Reggie has said a million times those were his Veritaseum tokens that were stolen. It had nothing to do with the ICO. They weren't part of they were owned by Reggie. They weren't investor funds. They were owned by Reggie. Remember, Reggie put up 50% of the 100 million Veritaseum tokens, 51% for sale, and only 2 million were sold because nobody wanted to buy any. So Reggie had most of them. The 8 million, what's his? Why is that even in here? This guy Daniel seems like he's working for the other side, if you ask me. Anyway, in an emergency action in August, the regulator froze Middleton's assets and asked the court to ban him from operating a public company or participating in a digital securities offering. On October 8th, Magistrate Judge Ramon Reyes rescheduled the pre-trial conference for November 14th to allow, so November 14th is our day, to allow the parties to devote their resources to settlement. Here is the notification filed by the SEC on October 2nd and approved today. Dear Judge Reyes, we write respectfully to request, together with the defendants, a 30-day adjournment of the order requiring the parties to appear before this court for an initial pretrial conference. The commission filed this emergency action on blah, 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 blah. Since then, the two parties have been engaged in settlement discussions. In order to permit the parties to devote their resources to settlement, the parties jointly request that the court set the scheduling conference for no earlier than November 11th. This is the first request for an extension of the scheduling conference. And that was approved, so November 11th is our day now. So what happened to VERI? Poof, popped up 37% on the news. That's nothing. Remember, when the cryptos get going in earnest, which they kind of started today, is looking good. But all cryptos will be looking towards their all-time highs. The cryptos that have done what they said they were going to do since day one will be searching for their all-time highs. And the reason is that that's the way investors think. They're going to say, oh, wow, Litecoin's run up so much, it's near $1,000. It's 3 times over its all-time high. What's Veritaseum done? It's still below its all-time high, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, that's what's going to happen. And Veritaseum is a tiny market, a tiny, tiny market. Remember, there's only 2 million shares traded. And Reggie owns 98 million shares, just to keep that in perspective. And if there is, money is really not the issue with this, the Veritaseum court case. Sure, Reggie can afford to pay an $18 million fine, no problem. It's more, hopefully his pride won't get in the way. We'll get a decent resolution. Clearly, the SEC needs to come to some decision on this one. And interestingly, that they've bumped it out another month, meaning maybe they're waiting for the system to collapse. I don't know. But it's good for Veritaseum. I think VERI's got a long way to go. And on that note, remember, all-time high is about $500. So it's, what, about 30x to move on this baby. And this is the final giveaway of Veritaseum. On the private road, I am giving away 1 Veritaseum token and a silver coin, Road to Roota coin. This offer will last not very long at all, both because silver's about to run and Veritaseum's about to run. So if you want to join the private road and have it pay for itself potentially, the old Bitcoin I gave away and Ethereum I gave away in the early days obviously paid for the subscription over time. This is no guarantee. Don't call up the SEC and say, Bix guaranteed that I'd pay for my subscription with my Veritaseum. That is not what I am doing. I've said if Veritaseum runs back to its all-time high, which is $500, it would pay for the $299 private road membership. And you get a free silver coin, which if silver was ever allowed to be free, should be trading a hell of a lot higher than $299. That's what I'm giving away right now on the Road to Roota. This offer is going to end probably next week when the chaos hits. And not only that, I'll be posting a whole lot of stuff this weekend on the private road for private road members. So now is the time to join the private road because next week is all hell breaks loose in our financial markets. And on the private road, you're going to know exactly when, where, and how that I think it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's absolutely going to happen. But my track record's pretty good in the last couple months. So keep an eye out. If you ever thought about joining the private road, now's the time to do it. Yes, renewals will get tacked on to the end of your current renewal date. So if you renew if your subscription expires in December, you'll get another year after that. So it would be the next December, and you will get sent the VERI token on a paper wallet. So you don't have to be crypto savvy. Just stick it away in your vault and wait for Veritaseum to go crazy. Again, Cliff High's data has it going 1-to-1 with Bitcoin. And I've explained how that could possibly happen. I'm not saying it's gonna. And this whole negotiation could fall apart. Nobody knows. Well, maybe somebody knows. But if it doesn't fall apart, I see nothing but great things down the line for Veritaseum, especially at these prices of 1/30th of its all-time high. You want to join, go to roadtoroota.com, hit subscribe today. I'll put a link at the bottom of this video. That is the silver Roota coin, the coolest coin ever invented, and you will be a one-year member of the Road to Roota private road membership. You get access to over 3,000 articles on the Road to Roota. It's insane. Just type in whatever your question is into the search function, and you will find what you need on the Road to Roota. This is Bix Weir. Sign up today. Join the Road to Roota. Great news for Veritaseum. Keep it up, Reggie. And the guys at Veritaseum, we're all pulling for you, and this is great news for cryptocurrencies as well, because it shows the SEC is bound and determined to get in the way to a point and then to settle. Settle, settle, settle. They know what's coming. The future is about cryptocurrencies, and this is a huge sign. And Veritaseum will be ready when needed to fix these criminal exchanges. I'm hoping. And Litecoin will be ready to serve as a means of exchange when the banks go down. Litecoin already is ready, in my opinion. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that they're not telling us as far as the Lightning Network. I think there's a lot of things already in place for the Lightning Network. But they won't tell us that because they say, oh yeah, you don't need a means of exchange. It's not a big deal. Ha! That's what I have to say. Ha! Anyway, BixWeir, roadtoRoota.com. Join. Talk to you later.